Hey everybody, Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I'm back on part 2 of my noodle booth and rat on a stick booth. So for the noodle booth, I'm going to start out with some metallics, or a metallic, and this is brown metallic. So I'm going to get some of my cardboard. I'm going to get some of my dirty ass paint water. I'm going to water that down, and then I'm going to start hitting my base with that. And I don't have to catch everywhere. Just a lot of it will do fine. Okay. Get up on some of these poles a little bit. Make all this a little metallic around the edges. Something like that. Touch the table in some spots. Hit that metal blind. And we're going to paint both at once while we're at it. And don't care if you get it on your meat. It'll be okay. Okay. That should be pretty good. Now we're going to get a watery brown color. This is a reddish brown that I've been using a lot. It's pretty good. And I'm going to get some water. Okay. We're going to dinge this place up quite a bit because food's served here. We don't want food being served on an area that's not properly comfortable. Now I'm going to get a light gray and mix it in with that. I'm going to use this wet elephant for that because it's already wet. I'm going to mix these colors together and create something hideous and unpleasant. I'm going to drag that around on the edges and catch some of the areas that are still black. I'm not going to go overboard with that. Okay. I'm going to set that brush to the side for now. And I'm going to get a little bit of that red and metallic mixed. And I'm going to get in here and grab some black spots I just blatantly didn't get. And I'll do a little blending in there if I have to make it work. I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. Okay. Now we're going to air dry both of those with the hot air gun. Now let's get a small brush. That's too small. Let's get some metallic here, just a little bit. Will hopefully go a long way. And something we can do some dry brushing with. There's some wet there. I'm just going to blend it all in and use it for my dry brush. No problem. Now I'm going to get a little more of the silver. Catch some of this edge work around the edge of the table where people sit and where the chef/salesman stands. some of this work area back here. Beat these chairs up a little bit because people sit there. I'm going to come back after I'm done before I clear coat that and re-glue this with some super glue because they're a little bit loose. Alright, so what I ended up having to do is come back and cut the bowls flat on top because when I was heating it up, they rounded up again from where I had made them flat and they melted a little bit. It's okay. It's going to look alright, I think. But let's get a off-white paint and paint those bowls. I'm going to use a tiny little brush. Use this little brush right here. Those don't have to be perfect, but we want to be able to tell what they're going to be. It's supposed to be. And let's get this bowl back here. Paint it white too. And we'll paint all that stuff up there white to make sure the bowl's white. Okay. Something like that'll work. Now for this one, I don't think we need too much in the way of white. But I will paint this sign white. Badly. Because essentially how they make signs is they just use like cheapy, crappy recycled metal that's like pounded into these plates. And they just pull it for wherever they can get it. They just salvage it off of something that broke down or something that died years ago. And then they just kind of paint it with as much paint as they can get. And that's why a lot of these signs are real junky. There's not a large advertising budget. Now, I'm getting a kind of wet brown, and this is not as watered down as the other stuff I was using. We're going to paint this rat on a stick up with it. We're going to leave that like that, I think. And we're going to mix that in with a little bit of that off-white. This is regular white right here, but we're just going to mix these real quick. And we're going to need red paint to do a sign for the rat sticks. And we're going to need a little bit more red to do some detail work on that meat too. Also, I'd like my cutting board to be a color besides rust. So I'm going to get a tiny bit of this ash gray and do a horrible paint job on that. Then let's get that red, make our sign, rat. Rat sticks. We're going to get that red. We're going to wipe a lot of that off. We're just going to touch it around on our rat sticks where it's dry already. We're not putting a lot of effort into that. We're going to get our brush real skinny. We're going to make some gross shit over here. All right, buddy. She said you wanted bookworm. Rat on a stick. Now, for our noodles, we're going to get that red. We're going to paint the sign red. We're going to let that sit for a minute. We're going to paint these seats like they were half-ass painted red. Maybe long ago, they were red. Okay. And let's say that somebody once tried to have the table be blue. Whoops, I'm knocking shit down. Now, just because this table was once blue does not mean it was able to maintain the blueness. It has long since been scraped away and faded and destroyed. Let's do something with that panel up there. Maybe that was once colorful and beautiful too. I'm going to get a kind of a wet orangish red. This is called ripe tomato. Okay. Now, let's get to these bowls and these chopsticks. So for my bowls, I'm going to get a little dab of yellow. And I'm going to get a very, very small brush. I'm just going to do some little lines of this yellow. I'm going to dry that lightly, quickly, with little effort. I missed a whole spot over here, back on this pan, but I was thinking about making this like some kind of sauce. So I'm just going to do a little bit of yellow in there and move it around and leave it be. I'm going to get a little bit of red and mix it with that, making orange sauce. Okay. Now we're going to get a yellow or a tan color or an off-white color. I'm going to use this ivory. And I'm going to hit all these noodle bowls again with a different little bit of line. Okay. All right, now I'm going to paint the chopsticks with it. That ivory. Okay. I'm going to let that dry. I don't know how much I'm going to let dry, but I'm going to let it dry a little bit. Then I'm going to come back and touch these chopsticks with chestnut. Now our sign up here is not quite dry. Let's see how this looks. I don't think we can do that. It's just not going to work. All right, we'll have to do the writing and something else. We use this ivory off-white color. All right, give me a second to put some brushes away. And we'll take a look at these. So there's our rat sticks booth. And there's our noodle booth. I think those are going to be a good sell for, you know, here's how a miniature would fit there on that booth. About like that. So I think we nailed it. As best as I have the talent to do anyways. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, and all the things that make the algorithmos of the great interwebs be kind to our channel. Also, check the description. You'll find our Discord and our website, www.dungeonswag.com. And there's also a discount code down there to get 25% off your first month of miniatures. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.